10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ninja vanish.
Hello, hello.
Well, hello. What's going on?
Not much. I was watching Venom and got about halfway through it before.
Oh, I have lots to say about Venom. I have. Went and saw it this morning at the movies, and I have very, very strong opinions on this movie.
I'm only halfway through it, so
I'll try not to do any spoiling of the movie.
He just got to Las Vegas, so where I'm at.
Yeah, it's yeah. We'll discuss this because yeah, it's a movie. There's that.
Yeah.
It's a movie. We can all agree on that. It was, in fact, a film that was recorded and filmed and placed in movie theaters. Anyway, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's everybody doing? Hola, ¿cómo estás? This is the Weekend Geek. It's not going to be a long show tonight. We're going to discuss a few things. Well, and I just kicked Jared out of the chat there for a second because I hit a button.
Well, I was going to go take a nap, so he didn't want me around. I was going.
God damn it. Oh, let me get my porn music up in the background. There we go. So anyway, let's start with something fun. Let's start with something fun tonight. Lower Decks is back. First two episodes.
The only good modern Star Trek.
Yep. And the first two episodes were awesome. First episode was mostly a like a mirror universe kind of thing, but not really a mirror, like, multiple universe where they run into a crew, a Cerritos crew from another universe. It's not the mirror universe, but it's just another alternate universe. So that was fun. It was a good episode. And then the second one's just, the second one's like a more of a standard episode, different. Anyway, everybody go watch it. It's freaking amazing. That show's been amazing from the very beginning and continues to be. I'm just sad that it's going to be over. That this is
make more of the stupid Star Trek, so can't make money on the.
Well, hopefully with Star Trek being sold off and everything, we'll get some good Star Trek again. I'm not going to hold my breath, but
the contracts written with Bad Robot, it's like it's got the people who bought them kind of screwed unless they actually purchase Bad Robot.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is they can make old Star Trek, right?
It's I think it's the way they got shit written right now, where they can't do anything without Bad Robot.
Like at all? So they own it, but they can't do anything with it?
And they actually have to pay Bad Robot to make. Bad Robot don't pay a licensing fee to make it. It's the other way around. It's like the only contract like that exists in like Hollywood for a property that exists. It's like backwards. They're paying the people that were wanting to make Star Trek to do their thing. It is so weird how this contract is written. Whoever was in charge of Paramount who signed the original deal with Bad Robot was fucking idiots.
Well, because they gave basically everything away, right?
Yes.
They gave all control.
Not only give it away, they actually have to pay them to do it. They're like they're paying Bad Robot a licensing fee for their own product.
So they owned the product. They sold it to Bad Robot.
Well, it's not even sold to Bad Robot. So the way the contracts worked is like Bad Robot owns everything they make. So even though it's not their IP, but somehow they own it because they made it different enough where it's not regular Star Trek.
Well, can they go back and make old Star Trek or something?
I don't know. That's what they should do instead of just scrap everything that Bad Robot's ever done. And
they should just go back to pre-Bad Robot.
Yeah.
And just, make more original Trek stuff or stuff in that timeline.
Mm-hmm. What they could do is do like a series dealing with like the after effects of DS9.
Yeah.
I would like to see Cardassia Prime, like rebuilding Cardassia.
Well, then Cardassia joins the Federation, don't they? Eventually, I don't think like right after that, but don't they by the 25th century?
They probably do. Their world was decimated after the Dominion War.
I think they do. In what's that game? The popular game that everybody plays, the Star Trek game that I'm blanking on, that takes place in like
Star Trek Online. Yeah,
2020. It didn't take place in like 2410 or something like that.
I'm not sure the timeline.
It takes place like 25 years after the I guess Voyager, because that was the last one.
Yeah.
But like in the early 25th century. And I think at that point Cardassia has joined the Federation. Because they didn't really have a fucking choice. But
they were basically in the same boat as the Bajorans. The Bajorans were wiped out and trying to rebuild their society by the Cardassians, and then the Cardassians were wiped out by the Dominion.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't know, man. I just want some good Star Trek. Lower Decks is great. I like aspects of Strange New World. I liked a lot of the I like the main three actors of that. I thought they were good choices for Pike, number one, and I like the what's his face that plays Spock. I think he does a good job. But there's a lot to that show that's just, I don't know, too much J.J. Abrams universe crap feeling to it, So there's some good in that show, but then they throw a lot of crap in there that I'm just like, that makes it not feel like Star Trek. Like, okay, yeah, it's a cool sci-fi show, but it doesn't feel like Star Trek. Discovery was just awful. The only season of Discovery that I still maintain that I liked was season 2, but that was mostly because it had Pike and Spock and all them in it, and it was better when the focus was not on the main character.
Discovery was so weird too, where the fact they made one character the main character. Star Trek's never been that.
Yeah, it's always been an ensemble
cast.
Yeah, which I think is true. I think is why I like season 2, because it became, for one season, it became an ensemble cast show. For one season, Pike and Spock and a lot of these other characters were just as important to everything that was going on. And that was the season also where I think the only good character consistently on that show got to shine, which was Saru. I liked Saru. I thought Saru was a great character. They gave him... He had several episodes that were devoted to him and his species and him figuring out, like, I liked the storyline with his species of them being raised to think they were slaves and subservient to this other species, and that when they hit a certain point, they had to die because of the fact that this other species had manipulated their entire society, because they were so dangerous that when they matured properly, they became very dangerous creatures. So this other species had convinced them that, oh no, that's when you die, before they go through this kind of natural evolution. I liked that storyline. Granted, it was only a handful of episodes throughout all the seasons of the show that actually really delved into Saru or his character. But he was the only well-written character in the entire fucking show. and he, when the story would focus on him, like it was good, but that was just again, he'd get maybe an episode and a half per season of story focused on him or anything, and the rest was all about fucking Michael Burnham, who was just a shit character. This is not a good character at all in any way, shape, or form. She was not. She was not a Starfleet character. She did not feel like Starfleet. She did not feel like somebody who belonged in that uniform.
No.
And in fact, what was it in season 4? I mean, she spent most of the season like she left Starfleet. Good, she should. She's a fucking shitty Starfleet officer. It's like what the fuck? Like, so yeah, no, it was it just in general wasn't a good show. And then, you had Picard, which the only season that was good was season 3. And that was only good because they finally got it through their thick fucking heads to, hey, maybe we should do what the fans want. And it wasn't completely what the fans wanted, but it was a hell of a lot closer than anything else.
It's because Bad Robot's doing it. They couldn't actually make it true TNG. They have to make it a certain percentage difference for them to own it.
Yeah.
That's why so many details are wrong, because changelings don't die in outer space. They had changelings die in outer space. Changelings don't kill each other. They killed each other.
Yeah.
But that's why it's different. It's closest thing we got to actual TNG style Star Trek with that. But when they started out, like the whole first season of Picard was absolute trash. Season 2,
season 1 and 2. Well, season 2 was by far the worst. Season 2 was just a steaming pile of unwatchable shit through and through. Season
1 didn't really please him either, but when starting out, it's like such fucking hubris. Like,
season 1
they already established in TNG and like the movies and everything, they don't cuss anymore.
Yeah,
they had explained what cussing was, like that type of language.
Yeah, it was just I mean, it really there's and when you watch season 3, this is what I've told people before who've asked about it. When you watch season 3 Picard, there's really nothing from season 1 or 2 you need to know to watch season 3.
Oh, and remember too that they actually had news channels in season 1. They had news. They don't have television in Star Trek.
It's just, I don't know. There's just not been really any good Star Trek outside of Lower Decks. I mean, it's the only consistent thing that there's been.
Now, once you have holodeck technology, you don't watch TV.
No,
you live the TV.
So, but I don't know, man. We'll see where Star Trek goes from here. It's Star Trek and Star Wars. Two things that I would love to get
back
good shit from. Two things that I grew up on. Really the only thing left, and honestly, as bad, like talking about Star Wars, as bad as the rest of Star Wars has been, like it kind of takes the joy out of any good Star Wars there is. Like, for instance, Andor. I fucking love Andor. The first season was fantastic. And I'm really, really looking forward to season 2, which I think we're getting next year.
If they don't screw it up.
However, well, I mean, and that's exactly the point. It's like, well, I mean, I'm trying to look forward to it. I hope it's good. But as bad as Disney's been doing with Star Wars, it kind of sucks some of the anticipation and enjoyment out of it for me. I'm just like, it might actually end up being a steaming pile of shit. I don't know. First season was great. I loved it. I like that character. I'm looking forward to seeing, and because from what I understand, season 2 will end going right up into the beginning of Rogue One, which I love. Rogue One. It is the best Disney Star Wars, and I think that was just because of a fluke. I don't think it had anything to do with Disney. I think they saw a story that was like, hey, this will be a filler movie. Because remember, it was when they were trying to do a movie every year. Mm-hmm. And I think that Disney just did not, they had done episode 7, and they needed a filler movie between episodes 7 and 8. And so somebody came up with this idea of doing a prequel about the Death Star plans, and I think Disney just didn't care, so they just let them do it. And they didn't interfere, and we got a genuinely really fucking great movie. And I think that's because they didn't care. They were like, well, it's not main storyline. And I forget the guy's name. What's the guy in Rogue One? But they're like, just let
probably one of the stipulations too to make sure all the characters die off, and so they don't have to continue them.
And so I think that one just kind of slipped through the cracks because I think if Disney had their way with it, would have fucked it up.
It is a shame they killed off all the characters in Rogue One because they could have done more movies with those characters.
Although, given what was going on in the Star Wars universe at that time, I mean, it makes sense that they all fucking died to get those plans. Like, it wasn't a bad ending, but you're right. They were really good characters.
I was like, how it should have ended, I think, if I remember correctly, they did like a really cool ending for it. So when BB-8, well, not BB-8, the android, like, takes out another version of the same type of android.
Yeah.
Like how it should have ended, like the I don't know if you watched those, like the animated, like how it should have ended videos. He downloads a copy of himself into that robot, and that's the one that gets destroyed. And he actually gets the ship and rescues them.
It would have been cool, man. I mean, like I said, I get the ending, and the ending makes sense. That all these people sacrificed their lives to get that information. And so
it took me a long time to ever watch Rogue One because I watched it, the original Star Wars, when it said many Bothans died to get this information. I was like, okay, that's the story. I don't really need.
Well, that was for the second Death Star. The Bothans died for the second Death Star. That was in Return of the Jedi. The first Death Star wasn't the Bothans. Yeah, that was the Death Star 2. The Bothans died to get the plans to the second Death Star for Return of the Jedi.
No, it's been a while since I watched the original.
Yeah, because that's what she says. Remember at the beginning of Return of the Jedi when they finally got Han and everything, and they go back to the Rebel base, and Mon Mothma's there giving the presentation, and she's the one that says many Bothans died getting us this information. Okay. Well, Mon Mothma wasn't in the original.
I was mixing it up with the first one. Oh, Brunson's in the house. Hey,
what's up? JB's out there, says he hasn't watched Venom yet. Let's talk about Venom real quick while we're at it. Okay, so, and I'll do this.
They started right off the bat with Noel.
Here's the thing. So, this was not a good movie. And it had nothing to do with the characters or the story. I liked the characters. I mean, I've liked Venom and Eddie since the first movie. And all the other characters they brought in the movie were great. They brought Strickland in, who's from the comics. They brought in a lot of other symbiotes that you get to see in the third act, at least half of which are from the comics. Characters were great. And I thought the overall storyline, because the Codex is something from the comics, I'm not sure it's quite the same thing as what they make it to be in the movie. In the movie, the Codex is how Noel can get out of his prison. I think in the comics, and it's been a long time, and because it can't, that whole Codex thing came out at a time when I wasn't really reading those comics, so I know, like, I have secondhand knowledge of it. But the Codex is a thing that does exist in the symbiotes, but I don't think it was like the key to getting Noel out of his prison. But whatever, they made it the key to getting Noel out of his prison in the movie. And so there's a lot of good stuff in the movie, and the overall storyline for the movie I thought was good. The problem is it is very, very apparent that this movie was highly, highly edited, probably by the studio to get it to fit a certain time. Probably, I think it's about an hour and 50 minutes long. And it is very, very evident when watching this movie that there's probably at least 30, maybe 45 minutes worth of shit they cut out of this movie. It is horribly edited. Horribly edited. The first act goes by like that and just jumps into stuff with first of all, if you've never seen the first two movies, you're not going to know what the fuck is going on in this movie. And that's a sign of a bad movie, either due to story or due to editing. And in this case, it's not due to the story, it's due to the editing.
Yeah, according to the website, it's been hour 36. I'm at 55
Oh, hour
minutes.
30. Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. There's at least a half hour of movie that was cut because
I thought I was halfway through at 55 minutes, but no, I don't have much left of the movie.
No, you don't. And this movie moves too quick. It moves too quick through too much stuff happens, and it just feels and not just that too much stuff happens, but the edit points in the movie from like one scene to the next feel jarring.
It definitely seems like hopefully there's going to be a director's cut that fixes all this stuff.
I hope so, because again, I think the story's good, and I already like the characters.
I don't know why they wanted to trim down to a shorter movie. It's like
I have no idea, dude. Because
movie being 2 hours anymore.
This movie needed to be fleshed out more. And I feel like, yeah, you're right. There's got to be like a director's cut that's way better than this, because it's a stilted, jarring movie the way it's edited.
I only have like 40 minutes left to watch the movie, and I feel like I'm only halfway through the movie, I'm not halfway through the movie.
No, you said you're to the point where they just get to Las Vegas. Yeah,
so
that should be the beginning of the second act. But what it is in the layout of the movie, the way it's edited, it's the end of the second act.
Yeah, it's and I thought it was just now getting started. I got
no. I'm telling you, the movie was, and I don't, I don't know, but I'm guessing it's studio trying to cut down the runtime of this movie.
Well, I don't get that, because most comic book movies are 2 hours. So why cut it down?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't. It is,
and this thing was pushed back too.
Yeah, and it's so poorly edited. It's so much like the first two movies are just fun. They're enjoyable. They're an easy watch. They're not the greatest movies in the world or anything, but I enjoy them quite a bit, and I have fun. Those are movies I can put on anytime and just be like, cool.
It's disappointing that this one went back to rated R when the second one should have been rated R.
There is not enough, and that's the other thing too, is there's nothing in this movie that's rated R. I don't understand. Even when, like, first of all, there's no blood. There's no blood in this movie at all.
Yeah.
What?
He kills the cartel guys. That's bloody.
Yeah, but you don't see anything.
When the creature is killing the special forces, it is actually like mulching them and spitting blood out its back.
Yeah, but not in any way that it's not a rated R level of violence. When he bites those three dudes' head off at the beginning of the movie, you just see their heads disappear. You don't see blood splattering. You don't see gore. You don't see anything. It's just chomp, chomp, chomp. Their heads are just gone. Yeah. And then the camera cuts away. Like, it's PG-13 violence in this movie.
The goriest thing I've seen so far is when that thing is shoving the special forces in its mouth. And
by the way, that's the only scene you actually see red blood in. Because those same creatures do that again later on, but they're doing it to symbiotes. So from a rated R standpoint, that does not count, because that's it's not blood, right? This movie looks PG-13 through and through.
You know what's funny though is, like, it's not Venom related. You ever seen like animes edited where they they do it for China and some other countries where they take blood and edit it white? And it doesn't look good. Mm-hmm. It looks like they're all covered in semen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was disappointed in the movie, because it just, and it's so apparent when you're watching it how poorly edited this movie is, and how especially if you've already watched the first act, how bad does the first act feel like they just cut big chunks out of it?
Did they decide to just sabotage their own movie?
I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking, because I don't think they would sabotage their own movie, because they're still trying to build the whole Spider-Man universe thing. We got Kraven coming out soon. The big trailer in front of this movie was Kraven. They're doing Spider-Man 4. There's behind the scenes talks of doing other Spider-Man movies and bringing back Andrew Garfield. Like, they're doing that. We'll talk about this in a minute, but Spider-Man Noir is being filmed for Amazon right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And the
why would
costume
they,
is great.
yeah, but why would they be? I don't think they would. I don't think they would intentionally try to sabotage this movie. I think it was just really, really poor decisions in the editing. And probably, as we've seen with studio interference before, a lot of it has to do with they want to cut runtime so that they can get, if a movie theater, if you can cut 30 minutes out of a movie at the end of a day, that means that movie theater can play that movie 2 times more than it could if you didn't cut the movie out or cut that 30 minutes out of the movie. And so I think it's a money. I mean, that's why they cut runtime, is for money. It's like, oh, we can get more viewings per day at each theater if we cut back how long the runtime is. I think it was a bad decision, because there was just watching it, as I'm watching it, I'm like, there's a good movie buried here. There's an enjoyable, entertaining movie buried here with good characters and a good storyline, and they've just done their damnedest to edit the shit out of that. And again, like I said, and it feels, and it's most felt in the first act. The first act moves by so damn quick and has such ridiculous edit points from scene to scene that we're just like, what? Like, everything you see in the trailer is in the first act. I mean, just everything. The plane, the horse, the cartel guys, all that stuff that's in the trailer is all in the first act, and the first act ain't that long. And it's just really, really poorly done, which is really fucking disappointing. Because I really like the first 2 movies, and this is the worst one, and it has nothing to do with the characters or the dialogue or even the overall story. And like, we had talked about this before when we first saw the trailer, whether or not Noel was actually going to show up or anything like that. Well, you haven't seen it yet, so I can't tell you. Fuck.
Yeah, I've only.
But I mean,
up to the end of the second act.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I see there's a good movie buried under there, and it's going to take a director's cut, I think, to get that.
Yeah.
Because this ain't it. This ain't it.
AK is like, I can't wait for the Aunt May movie. He's like, it's called The Wrestler. Go watch that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I honestly, if you're out there wondering if you should see it, I'd say no. I'd say wait till it's streaming in a director's cut, or you can get it on Blu-ray in a director's cut or something. Something that adds a good 30 minutes to the runtime to flesh the story out. I mean, unless you just want to, whatever. But like, I in retrospect, this is not a movie I would have wanted to pay for. I mean, I did. I went to the movies this morning and paid for it, but I wish I wouldn't have, honestly, because it was really fucking disappointing. So, yeah, that's where I fall on it. And I'm pretty fucking laid back, man. As a lot of people who've been watching my channel for a long time know, I usually tend to find the good in most movies and TV shows and things like that. Like, I can overlook a lot of stuff and try and find good shit in movies. And I did. I overlooked a lot of stuff in this movie. And like I said, there is good stuff in this movie. But it's just buried under studio interference and poor editing. And so, yeah. By the way, yes, Jen, there was a Venom popcorn bucket, except they wanted $37 for it. And I was like, no. No, I'm not. It was cool as a Venom head. It was cool. Had it not been $37, I would have bought it, but I wasn't going to spend $37 on a plastic Venom head. But yeah, I really can't recommend this movie, honestly. So yeah, I don't know what to say, man. I would say do the Jared thing, and which I probably should have done, which is just watch it on the website for free.
It's a telesync too, so it's good quality.
Yeah. I would just watch it there, and then hope that they release a director's cut at some point, because I think that's the only thing that would save this movie. And for some weird reason, they did. There was a moment in I guess what's supposed to be the beginning of the second act, where the movie does actually slow down and take its time, which is around this family, the family in the van.
Yeah.
And those, even though they're not really relevant to the overall story or anything, were really well done. And the conversations with the family and the kid and everything, like the movie slowed down for like 15 minutes in the middle of the movie and let it just have some character moments, and it was good.
The actress from Ted Lasso show cannot do a good American accent.
No, she's not good. I mean, I like her because I love that show and she's good in that show, but you can tell she has not had a lot of practice doing an American accent. By the way, did you notice almost everybody in that movie was British?
Yes.
Like almost everybody. The only one out of all the main characters that's not British is what's her face? Christmas. And she's Canadian. She's from Letterkenny. That's where I know her from. She was Wayne's girlfriend in the last few seasons of Letterkenny.
It's fun. I kind of wish like the actor that played Wayne could be selected to be Batman.
I like that dude. I'm flanking on Jared.
He can play like
Jared something, right? Jared. Fuck, I can't remember his last name, but I like him a lot, man.
Yeah,
I love Letterkenny. Letterkenny's such a goddamn good show. If anybody out there, if you've never watched Letterkenny, holy shit, do yourself a favor. And it's a really easy watch too, because all the seasons are only like 10 episodes.
He's got that square jaw though. He could wear a cowl and look good.
Oh yeah, it's a really fun watch.
Kiso.
Yeah. There you go. Jared Kiso or Kesso or however you pronounce his name. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not doing Letterkenny anymore. Now they're doing like revolving on the character. What's
his name? Yeah, no. I've only seen the first season of that show. Fuck. I'm blanking on his name. I'm totally blanking on his name.
Shorzy,
there you go.
Yeah, I had to look that up.
Yeah, I think they've done 3 seasons of that show. I've only seen the first one. But
yep, 3 seasons of Shorzy.
Yep. No,
he did Shorzy in Letterkenny.
You just never saw his face.
Yeah.
Yeah. He always showed him from behind. And then in Shorzy you actually see his face. But yeah. There's a good show. Go watch that instead of Venom. There's more entertainment value there. It sucks so bad. Because I really was looking forward to this movie. The trailers looked great. I love the first 2 movies, and it just was disappointing. And maybe if you didn't, I don't know. Maybe for people, I've been told I pay attention too much to like editing and shit like that. You know what I mean? So maybe if you don't pay much attention to that type of stuff, you'll like the movie better than I did. I noticed the all that little detailed, behind the scenes movie making shit, and it was really, really obvious and painful to fucking watch. It's just weird because it throws off the pacing of the movie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just completely throws off. Like the beginning of this movie didn't feel like a first act of a movie. It just throws you right in. Like it literally starts with the end credit scene from Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yep.
They kind of reshot that scene a little bit, and like that, and it's just boom, and it's just there. It's nonstop from literally the first second the movie starts. There's no easing into the story. There's no real build up. There's no nothing. It's just a fucking anyway. I bitched enough about it. It was not good. It was not a good movie. It's not a good movie. So I don't know, man.
I just don't have a lot of invested into it. So I'm like 55 minutes in. I don't mind it so bad. It's surprising. I only have around about 38 minutes left of the movie to watch.
Yeah.
I thought I was only halfway through. So it's weird to have a comic book movie only be an hour and 36 minutes.
Yeah, because this ain't the 90s anymore.
Yeah.
Like the comic book movies have been allowed to flesh themselves out and, you know, do better paced storytelling in the last 15 years.
Yeah. This is very strange. It's like it does feel now that you said that, it feels rushed. I thought it was like, this is fine. It's like being in the halfway point. Where's the rest of the movie?
Yeah. So, oh well. I mean, you know.
And like you said, though, if you don't watch the first two, you're lost.
Yeah, completely. You're not going to know what the hell's going on.
It took me a minute to get caught back up. It's like, oh, they're just jumping right into it, like we left off from.
Yeah. And not only the first two movies, but you have to have watched the end credit scene to the last movie and the end credit scene to Spider-Man No Way Home to know what the fuck is going on.
Yep.
And if you have not watched those, you don't know what the hell's going on. You don't know. If you just watched the last movie, even, you don't know why the fuck he's in Mexico.
Yep.
You have to watch two end credit scenes to two different movies to know anything about why this movie just starts with him in Mexico.
And talk about Thanos.
Yeah. Yeah, like why is he talking about Thanos and all, you know, and like it just, yeah. It doesn't, there's no way to enjoy this movie without having watched everything leading up to it, which is just not really a good, it's not a sign of good movie making. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to where, like, okay, if you watch these other things, you're going to appreciate some stuff.
That's on par, though, with current Marvel writing, though. Like, everything they're doing, it's like, if you didn't watch the Disney Plus series, you're going to be lost in this movie. Like,
yeah,
that was...
That's a bad way to do things, man. Like,
the last Doctor Strange movie, Doctor Strange 2. If you didn't watch the Scarlet Witch movie series, you're lost.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what the hell's going on. And again, they should, like, that should be a bonus, right? Like, you should be able to, without having watched anything else, watch a movie and enjoy it. But if you did watch these other things before, maybe you catch some stuff and you get a little extra bonus enjoyment out of it. But you shouldn't have to watch those things.
Multiverse of Madness. I was trying to remember the name.
Yeah,
I know it was a mom acronym, but if you didn't watch these WandaVision, you're lost.
Yeah,
you have no idea why she turned evil.
Oh, speaking of Scarlet Witch, let's move on to something else. I've been watching Agatha All Along, or whatever the fuck that show's called.
You really are a masochist.
Well, here's the thing about it. It's not that bad. Like, it's not my kind of. You know how I feel. I feel about it the same way I felt about Miss Marvel, which is the show itself is not bad. However, it wasn't written for fans like me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a bad show. It's just, like, it's made for a different demographic. But like Miss Marvel was not a bad show, but it was made for the demographic of, like, you know, teenagers. Like, that's what the show was made for. So it's not made for me. So I'm not saying I like the show. It's a Marvel thing, so I'm watching it just because I want to be able to talk about it and know what I'm talking about. But it's not a bad show. However, it is not for me. It is not a show that I'd be like there's you're not going to get somebody like me or even you, Jared, who's going to like this show. But I can also watch it and be like, okay, well, I can see, like, there's nothing bad in the show. You know what I mean? Like, they're not.
Aren't they, like, changing the origin of the Infinity Stones, though?
They haven't talked about the Infinity Stones at all. What they have done, and this is probably the only thing about the show that I do like, because again, I personally don't like the show. However, it's not poorly done. It's not like The Acolyte, where The Acolyte, not only did I not like it, but it fucked up Star Wars, right? This does not fuck up Marvel. It's just not really made for me. But one thing they did do in it that I did like is they introduced Lady Death. Lady Death is in this. And she's done really well. And it's what's her face? She's in all the trailers. The chick from Parks and Rec. Why am I blanking on her name? Oh. Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza is Lady Death. And she's really good.
So
she's really good.
well, she's not actually a witch. She's actually Death.
She's actually Lady Death. Yes, she's not a witch. She is Lady Death. And you didn't really know who she was because she's been in most of the episodes, but she hasn't had like major parts in any of the episodes. She like shows up, and you know that Agatha knows her, but you don't really know who she is. And everybody else on the show kind of just thinks she's another witch. And then in this last episode, it's revealed she's not another witch. She's fucking Lady Death. That's who she is.
Just Death.
Death. No.
When you say Lady Death, I think Chaos Comics.
Yeah. Well, because they called her Lady Death, or sometimes they called her Mistress Death. Well, yeah. Thanos called her Mistress Death. But yeah, Death. She is Death in the comics. And
that just irks me even more, the fact they're introducing Death when Thanos' original intent with the Infinity Gauntlet comics
was a way better motivation for the character. And I think to me, and obviously I think they did this on purpose, which is fine. That was a creative choice by Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel. They wanted to make Thanos more sympathetic, which is fine. And I think they pulled it off. And I don't hate his motivation, but the comic book motivation is way better. And I think really shows how bad of a guy he is. Like the fact that, for those that don't know, I'm sure everybody in here knows, but if you, for whatever reason, don't know, his motivation in the comic was he was in love with Death. He was in love with her. And to prove that he loved her, because she had kind of banished him away from her realm to where he couldn't see her, he wanted to track down the Infinity Stone so that he could wipe out half the life in the entire universe to gift to her. And he wanted her to watch him do it.
In the comics, he wanted to eliminate all life.
Well, he originally wanted to. He originally got rid of half life. Didn't he do it first? He got rid of half of it altogether first, because remember he built that platform for her, because he got rid of half the life in the universe first to get her attention, and then he was going to get rid of the rest of it once she showed up. Remember, he built that big platform above Earth.
Yep.
And that's where she showed up, and he's like, okay, now that you're here, watch what I'm going to do. Right? So it was a much more petty and evil motivation for him in the comics, which I like better for him. I think
Thanos is truly evil.
Yeah.
Not space hippie who wants to like increase.
Exactly. And
what's his entire reasoning too is like, well, if it's not enough resources in the universe for all the current life forms, then instead of wiping half out the population in the universe, why don't you just double the resources with your Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah. Especially since, like, in a few hundred years, it would just come back. So. We got a super chat from Preston Garvey. He says, Miss Marvel is terrible. You're just in denial. No, it wasn't a terrible movie or terrible show. It was just a Disney Channel show made for teenagers. I watched the whole thing with my daughter. My daughter loved it because my daughter was 14 at the time, 13 or 14. She loved it. And I could sit there and watch it with her the same way that I used to watch Good Luck Charlie. I don't know if anybody's ever watched that show. I have kids, so I occasionally watch kids shows, right? Good Luck Charlie was another Disney Channel show that was made for kids. And it's certainly not my thing. I don't like it, but I watched it with my kids, and I can watch it objectively and go, oh, this is a good show for children or teenagers or whatever. It is not geared towards me. And that's what Miss Marvel was. It was a show geared towards like preteens, to be like, here's a superhero for you. It was well acted. There was no stupid dialogue. The storyline was actually, the storyline was more solid than most things that Disney puts like on Disney Channel for prepubescent teens, right? And they worked in some Marvel stuff in it. It was a perfectly acceptable Marvel show made for teenagers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was not made for grown fans like me, like you, like all of us, like all you guys out there. But it wasn't a bad show. It just was not made for us. It was Disney going, hey, let's do basically a Disney Channel show set in the Marvel universe. And they did that. And that's fine. Kids should get their growing up, like we had all kinds of stuff, whether it was, Power Pack or whatever, that was Marvel comics made for younger audiences, right? Yep. Not everything was Wolverine and Weapon X and Punisher and shit like that, right? There were plenty of Marvel properties that were made for younger readers. That's what Miss Marvel was. It was made for younger readers, or made for younger fans. And I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. Like, but it wasn't for me. It's not my thing. I don't give a shit about those stories. I did not grow up with Miss Marvel, not that version of Miss Marvel anyway, so I don't care about that character. But my daughter liked it. And so I watched it with my daughter, and I could objectively watch it and go, okay, this isn't a bad show. You know what I mean? But they made it for a very specific audience, and that audience, as I got to see watching it with my 13-year-old at the time, did enjoy it. And it got her more excited for Marvel stuff. And ultimately, that's like, okay, cool. It made her want to watch more Marvel things with me.
I don't know if they did this intentionally, but when you open the jaw and turn the head, it closes.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
They did glue on the chainmail cricket, so I got to take it off and fix it.
But yeah, the Agatha show I view similarly in that it's just not made for me. Outside of Ghost Rider, I've never really cared about the mystical side of Marvel. I was never even a big Doctor Strange fan, to be honest with you.
The Midnight Suns Ghost Rider stuff, it's really the only magical side of the stuff I like to go
with. And I read Midnight Suns and like Heart of Darkness. I love that graphic novel Heart of Darkness with Punisher, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider and Blaze, Spirits of Vengeance.
Yeah. There's mostly the stuff that surrounded Ghost Rider I liked. Yep. But a lot of the mystical side of the Marvel universe I've never really been a big fan of. And this takes place in that side of the Marvel universe. So again, it's not for me. I'm not a fan of this type of content. But the show's done well. All the characters are done well. I think they got good actors and actresses to play all the parts, although it's all chicks except for the kid. Is the only dude on the fucking show.
Doesn't he dress up as Maleficent at one point?
Yeah, that was in the last episode because they're on the Witch's Road, which is a thing from the comics that I just don't really. Again, I never really got into any of this shit, so I don't really care, to be honest. So I don't really know how accurate it is to what it was in the comics, but it's like a thing that people with mystical powers. It's like a series of trials, and so each episode they're going through a different trial to try and get to the end of this thing, to where like Agatha wants to get her powers back and shit, and the kid, all the different witches, all the different characters on the show, they all want something when they get to the end, and each time they get to a new trial, like whenever they walk in, it like fucking changes everything. So like this last trial, when they walked in to this fucking castle, each character was done up like a different famous witch from movies. So one looked like Maleficent, one looked like the Wicked Witch of the West, one looked like the fucking witch from Hansel and Gretel, one was dressed up like Glinda the Good Witch. Like it fucking changes shit. It changes reality every time they take a new test. So anyway, again, not my kind of show. I don't think anybody in this audience would like that show, to be honest with you. But objectively, I can look at it and go, well, it's not bad. It's just not written for us.
I don't think they're going to make the mistake and make anything important in the movies from this show either.
I don't think so. Again, so far there's two things I've seen in this that I think you could see translating over into movies, and that is Wiccan. Wiccan is in this, and Death. Those two characters are significant characters, and so I think that, again, I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying if there were any things that they could pull from this show that would translate into the movies or the larger Marvel universe, it would be those two characters. And Wiccan I could give a shit about because, you know, I don't care about Wanda's kid. Like, I know him. Honestly, the thing I remember Wiccan the most from is that Next Avengers fucking movie. Those two movies, Next Avengers and Next Avengers 2. I don't know if you've ever seen those animated movies that came out like in the mid 2000s or late 2000s or something, which are actually pretty good. I like those movies. And it's just like all the kids of the Avengers in the future after the Avengers are all dead in a post-apocalyptic world, and they have to gather together to fucking, it's like Hawkeye's kid and Wiccan's there and Hulkling and all these characters, and I don't know. Anyway, they form like a new teen Avengers. It's like two movies. They're good. I've got them on DVD. That's the thing I know Wiccan from the most, because when he appeared in the comics, I was not reading the comics at that time. But I could give a shit about Wiccan. However, Death is a cool character, and I do like that. I do like her as Death. She does a good job. I think she's a good choice for an actress to play Death.
Mustache.
But yeah, so I'm not going to recommend anybody watch this show because I don't think anybody in here is going to like it. It's not our thing. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to keep watching just because I why not?
It's on the website, so why not?
They're like 25-minute episodes. I don't pay for Disney Plus, so it's something I can put on while I'm doing other shit. You know what I mean? Which is what I've been doing. I'll like put it on and be doing other things on the computer or whatever.
There's so many people doing streams right now.
Oh, dude, Saturday night, it's fucking streams everywhere. So, but
there's a Geek Fusion channel, Never Enough Ammo channel, like that. That's got streams going on.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I saw this week that I who knows? You can never tell anymore off of a trailer. But the new trailer dropped for this movie called Love Hurts. Have you seen this?
Is that the one with like a short round?
Yes.
Yes, that looks good.
Dude, that trailer was so fucking awesome. Everybody should check out the trailer. And it was in front of, when I went to go see Venom this morning, they played the trailer in front of Venom too. And it's got short round. I cannot say his name. And he plays like, I guess, an ex-gangster or assassin or something who now is trying to live a normal life under an assumed name. And now his brother's trying to track him down and shit. And so he has to become like badass.
Ki-Hu-Han?
There you go. And I like that it's a mini Goonies reunion, because did you see what's his face in there? Sean
Astin.
Sean Astin is in the movie. But the trailer looked fucking great, man. I even loved the fucking Celine Dion soundtrack to the trailer. Worked perfectly for the fucking trailer. It was good. I'm like, it doesn't come out till fucking February, but I'm looking forward to that. That movie looks good. I'm gonna go to the movies to see that one. So, but other than that, I don't think there was much going on entertainment wise this week. I mean, I've been rewatching Grimm, which I say rewatching. I only ever watched the first 4 seasons, and there's 6 seasons of the show. So season 5 and 6 I've never seen. I'm on season 6 currently. But for people who never watched Grimm, so this was on from like 2011 to 2017 on NBC, which is odd in and of itself, because for a genre type show to last that long on a network, on one of like the big 4 networks, is unusual. Because when it comes to sci-fi or horror or fantasy or anything, most of the time those shows usually get canceled after a season. And this thing made it 6 seasons. It was at the time a really popular show, and it's a really good show. I'm glad I'm finally getting to watch the whole thing. For anybody that hasn't watched it, the concept's pretty simple. It takes place in a world where creatures, like all the creatures from Grimm's fairy tales, are like real, but they're not the way you think they are. They look like normal human beings most of the time, and essentially their creature side is kind of, they never really, at least not that I've seen, they never really explain it. They are basically human, but it's almost like there's this spirit of whatever the creature is inside of them that can come out, and they physically change.
I never watched it.
It's a really good show. And then the main character, Nick, he is a Grimm, and he comes from a line that goes back 1,000 years of these. There's people that genetically, and you do find out in the show, it has something to do with their genetics in their eyes. They can see the true selves of these other of all the creatures, right? So they can see them when they're not human, whereas most people can't. And so you just don't know. They're all around us, right? And he can see them, and he's a cop, and it doesn't start happening for him until he's like 30 while he's a cop, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And then his aunt shows up in the first episode, and she's dying of cancer, and she tells him, she's like, look, you're a Grimm. This is why you're seeing these things. This is something that's passed down from generation to generation. Your parents didn't want you involved in this, and were hoping you would never see it. She's like, and his aunt is a Grimm, and his parents are dead, and she raised him, and she's like, but I'm dying, and you're seeing these things. I have to pass this on to you, because you're going to see these creatures for the rest of your fucking life. And so that's kind of where the story starts, is he finds out he's a Grimm, and that he can see these creatures, and there's this whole other like underworld of creatures that nobody else fucking knows about, that nobody knows exists. And
G-Web, I like the G-Webs. Like, there's a documentary about this in the 1980s. They Live.
Yeah. No, I mean it's got some They Live aspects to it. But it's a really good show. I liked it when I watched the first 4 seasons back in the day, and I kept meaning to fucking finish watching it. And by the time I got around to it, I'm like, I might as well just rewatch the whole series, because I don't even remember the first 4 seasons anymore. And it's really good. I can highly recommend to this audience, because all of us here in this audience, we like genre television shows. We like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, that kind of stuff. And this is very fantasy horror.
Yeah.
It's good.
I been watching. I got caught up on Bleach, the anime Bleach, 1,000 Year Blood War. I watched the first 2 seasons. They got season 3 going on right now. Of course, season 3 is subtitled, so first 2 seasons you can watch dubbed. Which fantastic anime. I've always loved Bleach. Well done. And kind of got watched like this isekai, what they call it. It's like where people get like transported to another world type thing, from our world to another fantasy world. And it's one of those called Tuzumaki Moonlight Fantasy. It's a little different twist on it. I actually liked it. It was pretty good. I watched the first 2 seasons of it. And that's what I've been watching. I get more entertainment watching stuff that's not American.
Yeah, well, they tend to go less woke.
Yeah.
G-Webs in the chat says Caddo Lake was great. Thanks. Yeah, see, G, I told you it was. G-Webs, let me know. Doesn't it kind of like, it's kind of trippy in the same way that Predestination was trippy, in that kind of time travel kind of weird shit way where you don't really figure out exactly what's going on until the end. And then when you figure it out, you're like, oh, this all makes fucking sense. Like right at the end, you're like, oh, okay, I get it all now. It was a good show. And like I said, for anybody out there wanting to watch it, it's the first half is kind of slow because you don't really know what's going on. And then about halfway through the movie, then the kind of time travel stuff starts happening, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, it's okay. Let me then you get really into it. The first half of the movie is just like focusing on some characters and you're just kind of going along with them and their lives and stuff, and you don't really know, like, okay, why am I watching this? Like, what's going on? And then shit starts happening, and you're like, oh, okay. And it was good. It was a good trippy movie, man. So I liked it quite a bit. I enjoyed it quite thusly. So JB in the chat says, I'm actually looking forward to Venom. Critics are too picky. Look at how they graded the Marvels. The fuck?
The critics love the Marvels.
Yeah. It was the audience that hated the Marvels.
The critics.
That is an odd statement there, JB. I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
I think you need to take your meds, JB.
Is JB saying the critics didn't like it and he did? They loved Marvels and they hate Venom. Well, Venom is still, even as many problems as that movie has, it's still better than the Marvels. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I've actually, even though it's like a shorter movie so far, like I said, I'm at the 55-minute mark on the movie, and I've been enjoying it. It's just but I'm more disappointed with the fact I only have 30-some minutes left of the movie.
A lot happens in that 30 minutes, dude. A lot happens. And I will say the end of the movie is really good. Like, the third act is really good. The third act is the act that feels the least changed or tampered with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, considering it's like barely an hour and a half, like, they could have spread out the rest of that movie. You know, there's more footage there was more filmed. The original cut to this movie was probably at least 30 minutes longer. And I think it should have been.
Yeah.
And well, have you gotten to the dance scene yet with Mrs. Chang?
No.
Are you? Because that's going to be happening pretty soon. Because if he just got to Vegas, that happens in Vegas.
He's staring at the woman dressed up as Statue of Liberty, where I'm at.
Okay. So yeah, even like that was a scene. Like, I just want you to, when that scene starts happening, pay attention to the editing in that scene, because it was one scene that stood out to me as being really, really poorly edited. The way it plays the music and then keeps flashing back and forth between them dancing and then like other characters doing other shit in the movie. It's like we can't afford the time to just give that dancing scene, which, by the way, would have been a cool scene, you know, to these two characters, to Venom and Miss Chang. We have to cut in a bunch of other shit because we don't have enough time. So we got to cram in everything into this one, like, 4-minute scene. We got to show what the military's doing. We got to show what the aliens are doing, and we got to show what the symbiotes are doing, and then cut back. Is there any
reasoning for payoff for the fact with the clearly British scientist doing a bad American accent actress, her getting struck by lightning and her twin getting killed? Is there any reason for that, or is there any payoff of that?
For the lightning scene, no, not really. Now, I mean, if
it makes no sense to include that if there's no kind of payoff. Why would we need that on her backstory that when they were kids, they were running from a storm and then holding hands, and she gets struck by lightning, and the lightning flows through her and kills her brother?
I mean, not really. Now, I will say, and I don't, because you've read the comics more than I have, that character becomes Agony. You know Agony from the comic? Like, I know who Agony is, but I know, like, each symbiote has their own powers, kind of. They each have, like, things they can do that other symbiotes can't. Is Agony's powers have anything to do with, like, electricity or lightning?
I was just curious, like, what was the even point of that scene?
Well, and I only say that because later on, when she becomes Agony, she kind of, when she's running and shit, she's got like lightning streaks behind her, And I didn't know if that had something to do with that's just because they decided to make this character have gotten struck by lightning, or if that plays into, in the comics, Agony had some sort of fucking electricity or lightning powers.
No.
No? Okay. I didn't know. Because again, I didn't, Agony wasn't introduced till after I stopped reading comics in like the late 90s. So, but yeah, that character becomes Agony in the third act.
Okay.
So I guess if Agony doesn't really have any lightning powers, then it doesn't mean shit. Then there's no reason to include that.
But that's before they start changing the symbiotes. These are just different color symbiotes back then. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
The symbiotes were not created by some god-like creature originally. They didn't have no origin, and I always found it like curious, like how do they work when they transform you? And he's like, his head is bigger than the mouth opening up, and there's no head in there. What's going on?
Yeah,
how's it work?
I mean, honestly, from the comics, there's a lot about the symbiotes that don't make sense, but whatever. Everybody likes Venom, so who gives a shit? He's like, it's comic books. Whatever. But yeah, you'll get a lot of, there's a lot of fucking, symbiotes that show up in the third act. So, I see Jen in the chat says Scream was the last symbiote I saw introduced in the comics. And we didn't even get Scream. I mean, we got Scream, but we didn't get Scream, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, we got Scream in the second movie, but it was just that
was Shriek.
Was that Shriek? I thought that was Scream.
No, that was Shriek in the second movie.
But she wasn't even Shriek, really.
She had the sonic powers.
So. She had her power, but she had her powers when she was human.
Well, that's Shriek. Wasn't a symbiote.
Then who am I thinking of? Who was the symbiote that had some sort of sonic powers that fucked with other symbiotes? I thought there was a symbiote that had some kind of powers that she could fuck with other symbiotes. I don't fucking know. Again, we're talking about a lot of characters that got introduced in the late 90s that when I wasn't reading comics, so I'm probably wrong.
Okay, Scream looks like she's got the Agony's. No, Agony is the pink one. Scream is the yellow one. Okay.
Scream's the one we got the Marvel Legend of from that.
We've got an Agony and Scream. Agony was in the 3-pack from Amazon.
Which one's the one that I got? I've got one, the yellow one.
That is Scream.
That came out in that wave with Carnage. What wave was that? Was
that
Kingpin?
That Scream.
Or Demogoblin? Which wave was that? Fuck, I can't remember which wave that was. There was some symbiote wave we got.
I think it was a Monster Venom wave.
No, because I don't have that Build-A-Figure. It was Anti-Venom, that chick, whoever that is.
I don't remember.
We got a Carnage in that wave. We got... Fuck, who all was in that wave? Was it the Maximum Carnage wave? What was the Build-A-Figure for that wave? It had to be... It's one I have, so it had to be like... Okay, it wasn't Kingpin. Was it the Demogoblin wave? Who was the characters in the Demogoblin wave?
Monster Venom wave.
No, it can't be because I don't have a Monster. Or no, it was Monster Venom. Sorry, I was thinking of Venom Pool. Never mind. Yeah, it was the Monster Venom wave because I do have Monster Venom. Fuck, when you said Monster Venom, I was thinking Venom Pool. But no, yes, you're right.
Marvel Legends Scream is like that's here.
So that's Scream that I have.
Yep.
Okay, Scream, not Agony. Okay. Fuck, I don't know. It was a cool wave. She's by far the worst figure in that wave, though.
Which was funny. It's like she's on the Moonstone, the original Moonstone body. It's like
it's not a good figure at all.
It's the problem is like
that head sculpt,
a solid chunk of hair. It limits to what you can do with the head. Plus,
well, it also makes her.
There's no articulation in that neck either.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I have to put her on a fucking stand because she falls over because 90% of the weight is in her head.
Yep.
So
I got her like hanging off like the power cord for my lights.
yeah, It was the worst figure in that wave, but anyway, I digress.
Pricey. I think she's pricey on the secondary
Oh,
market.
dude, she's worth a lot of money. I don't know why. I guess because people just want that figure. But I remember looking it up one time because I was just curious about that wave. I don't remember why. And she was going for like $60 at the time. Maybe not anymore. I don't know. But she was going for like $60 on eBay. And I was like, the fuck? I was about to be like, well, maybe I should just fucking sell her. I don't even give a shit about that figure. But all right, let's see. Anything else? Anything else going on in the world today? Movies, TV? I don't think there is. I mean, there wasn't really much going on this week. So, oh, we do have this. I did want to show this. Let me show this here real quick. For those that didn't get the chance to see it, we got shots because we did talk about this earlier. Shots of Spider-Man Noir. So this is the series. This comes out next year, I believe, on Amazon. I think it's going to be an Amazon show. So Spider-Man Noir, starring Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir, basically reprising his role. He did the voice of Spider-Man Noir in the first, was it Across the Spider-Verse or Beyond the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse? Whichever the first movie was, I don't remember. Where Nicolas Cage voiced Spider-Man Noir. So now they've got him doing a live-action Spider-Man Noir. And the costume looks fantastic. And I mean, it should, because his costume is not like some crazy fucking superhero costume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it should look good because his costume is, you know, basically just trench coat, hat, leather with a fucking kind of Spider-Man-esque pullover mask. So and yeah, they did a good job. So this takes place in the 1930s, I believe. Spider-Man Noir does. And I don't know what the story is going to be. Who knows what the story is going to actually end up being on this thing? But costume looks great, and I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan. I have been since the 90s. Face Off, still one of the greatest movies of all time. Anybody who doesn't think so, go fuck themselves. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if that's actually him in the costume. I would think not. That's probably a stunt dude riding on top of a car.
Oh, I'm sure. It's like most of like Deadpool. There's a stunt dude in the suit, and then Ryan's just in the voice.
I mean, I'm sure he's going to be in the costume as well.
Yeah.
But just not. I mean, what we're seeing here are clearly action scenes and stunt scenes of him riding on top of a car. So I'm sure that's not Nicolas Cage. But costume looks solid. And I was already sold on Nicolas Cage playing Spider-Man Noir. So hopefully it won't suck. I mean, that's the problem with anything Sony does what has to do with Spider-Man is there's a 50-50 chance it will suck. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look at Morbius. Ugh. You know, look at Madam Web. Jesus Christ, worst fucking movie ever. It's the worst comic book movie I've ever seen. It's worse than Catwoman. It's worse than Batman and Robin. That's how bad that fucking movie is.
Oh, I got something to share.
Oh, what do you got?
This Toy Maker 3D, he is awesome. He does these really cool models and stuff like that. And a lot of his models are free for you can download the print. Some of the more advanced ones, you got to pay for the files. But this Galactus he made, man, look at this.
And that thing's what, like 28 inches tall, right?
And you can print it any size you want.
Yeah, he did it. I saw this, and he's selling those files for $22, which
his current print size is 29.5 inches tall.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this one. Now he's saying you should use different color stuff. I'm probably just gonna paint mine because I don't want to buy a bunch of different colored fucking medium. But
pick one of the colors and just paint the other.
Yeah. So, but yeah, for $22, dude.
Yeah, this guy just does such.
That thing's awesome. It's a lot of little pieces, though. Lots of little pins and stuff you have to print off. So it's hundreds of pieces to put that thing together.
Mm-hmm.
But because if you go to his thing, there's a list of of how many parts it is. Yeah, if you go back and click on the picture, and then
I don't want to sign in.
yeah, you got to be those pop-ups fuck it up. You got to click on that picture on that last page. There you go. See, so you've got 2, 15, 75, 140, 20, 23, 98 parts. So it's a few hundred parts to put that thing together.
But you have a fully articulated Galactus.
Yeah.
But in it too, you can leave off the gun if you don't want the gun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty damn cool. I'm gonna pick that one up and start printing it off. And hopefully when you buy it, it comes with instructions on what goes where, because that's a lot of fucking pieces.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just not, print off all these parts, and then you just got a fucking box full of plastic trying to figure out what goes where, because it's lots of little pins and things and stuff like that. But that thing is badass looking.
Yes. It's just such impressive work.
Yeah, he did a great job on that. GUF says print it large enough to go inside of it. Make a cosplay suit of it.
He's got really cool stuff for free too. These Guardian robots, all these Transformer stuff, they're free. The only thing he charges for is the more complex stuff.
Yeah.
He's like doing the Lord's work. This is just so cool. If you don't really want a transforming Transformer, just print these robots off.
Yep. And they look really good too.
There's the Ultra Magnus for free.
Nice classic Ultra Magnus. That Bumblebee looks good too. I like that Bumblebee.
Oh, yeah.
Straight from the fucking show.
There's another One Oak Customs. He's been taking these and upscaling them to like 1/12 scale.
Oh, that's cool.
So when you do that, you got to do like a little bit of modification on like the joints, because once they scale up, the joints are like get loose. Because the way things scale, it don't do everything exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got some incredible stuff. Is the Mecha Godzillas and Iron Shell and all these things. The more detail it is, that's the ones he charges for.
Yeah.
He's running sales on a lot of these files right now too. The Mecha Godzilla, that one's badass. One's $15, man. See what happens though? You're going to get addicted. And you're going to start building these things. And like every chat, Matt, and you're like,
yeah.
Part here, go together.
Well, hell, just that as many parts as that Galactus is, man. That's going to take forever just to put together once you print it off. And then you got to paint the damn thing. So,
well, this one, you don't look like you had to do too much painting on.
Yeah, you don't have to do lots of that one. Well, depending on what color you print up. All I've got black and white. That's the only medium I have.
It's kind of like killer.
I'm wondering what would be. I'm thinking. I don't know what would be better to print Galactus off in, black or white. Like white's going to make the paint pop more, but the black painting purple and blue over the black background is going to give it a nice darker. And
maybe all the purple part, the lighter purple parts, do those in white.
Yeah,
and do the rest of them black.
Because I like that the black, because what I can do is I can dry brush over the black,
and
then have nice detailing there in all the cracks and crevices of the mold from the black that I don't have to worry about painting. It'll kind of look like it's got a wash on it. So I may do that, yeah. But it's cool, man. And for $22, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's cheap as hell. for something that's almost 30 inches tall. Shit.
And only after that, only you got your just buying your PLA, your rolls.
Yeah, which I have a ton of right now. So
yeah, I'll do like the like this here. All these parts down here, I would do that probably in white, and everything that's dark blue, do that in black, and dry brush over top of it, like you said.
yeah.
Even like the gun and stuff, you can do it all in black.
I don't even give a shit about the gun, to be honest with you. To me, Galactus doesn't need a fucking gun.
No,
I'm not even going to print the fucking gun. I just want the figure. So,
and plus you'll have a gun file if you ever want to print something like this for all of it.
yeah, that thing looks sweet.
$22, man.
Yeah.
If you were going to like commission somebody to model this for you, you're probably looking at $2,000 to get somebody to model this.
Oh yeah.
Because 3D modeling is not easy.
No. Especially when you look at the way he's got it broken down in all these little individual parts. I mean, those are. I mean, he didn't just do one part like for those legs, right? Like he did each individual like plate of armor is a different fucking part.
Yeah, this is fully articulated. It's it's really cool.
And even I can't. The only thing I could tell are the hand. Is it different hands or are the hands articulated?
The hands are articulated.
They are articulated. Okay.
Open image, new tab. There you can see these things are articulated.
All right.
Look at that.
Yeah, that thing is just amazing looking.
The only thing that's kind of iffy about is this thing here. Not sure what's going on there.
It's a design choice, I guess.
But yeah, that's just pretty cool, man. What's he calling this?
Battle Geist.
Geist. Yeah, he can't call them the actual real names or get them took down. All products. Definitely. I'm putting this in the chat for everybody. Cooling fins. There we go. That's what we call it. Samuel Tucker. His Mohawk. One Oak Customs. He's been printing these. He printed a Devastator. It's like 5 feet tall. 1/12 scale.
Damn. Let's see.
I don't have this kind of printer. That's like the style printer you got, the PLA style. I got a resin printer.
There's the link for anybody that wants it. But it is there. So let's see.
Yeah, this is where I've been watching Bleach at. New episode tonight. What's this show here? I don't know what. Get those faces off the screen.
Fucking assholes. They look like douchebags.
I know it. But yeah.
Fucking pieces.
So after stream, I'll finish up watching Venom. I'll have.
Yeah. And maybe you'll like it better than I did. Maybe I am being too picky. I don't know.
I've liked it so far. It's just, is it a masterpiece? No, I don't expect a lot from Sony.
Yeah. I don't know.
Morbius wasn't good, but was bad. It was fun to watch because it was bad.
The only good thing that I saw about Morbius was I liked what's his face, Matt Smith. I like he makes a good bad guy.
He hammed that shit up.
Oh, he totally did. But he makes
he was doing the Peter the symbiote control Peter Parker.
Yeah. But I like him, and I think, I mean, even though I know him more for being Doctor Who than anything else, but I
miss it.
I like him as an actor, and I think he can play a really, really good bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
he played Skynet.
Yeah, in that awful fucking movie.
What's sad? Still better than the last few ones they made.
Well, yeah.
What they should have done is not cancel Sarah Connor Chronicles, especially with a cliffhanger, because that show was good.
All right. Well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be pretty much it for tonight. We ain't got too much else to talk about, so I think we're gonna go ahead and wind this one down.
Oh, did you ever finish Hellboy, or did you just not get through it?
I've never fucking did finish it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I never fucking finished it.
Yeah, I got this Crosshair figure. His hands suck. They got like MCU style hands. They're too small for the body.
Yeah.
I think I'm going. I got some of those Bucky caps, the new Bucky cap figures. I've used some of the parts already. He's got the proper hands, like the vertically hinged. These are horizontally hinged, so you can't use a gun properly. So I think I'll put those hands on there. I'm kind of thinking I want to get a soft goods trench coat for it. I think this would look cool in a trench coat.
Yeah.
It would make it look less like a reject G.I. Joe character. He's supposed to be a villain, I think, but he looks like a medic.
Yeah, he's yeah. That's exactly what he fucking looks like.
He looks like somebody like the Red Cross thing, and not those cross hairs, but not a great character design.
All right, so I just bought Galactus.
I know what you're going to be doing. Either.
Yeah, I know what I'm going to be doing for the next several days, printing off little fucking pieces. So, anyway.
Now you have to come on the morning, Matt, see what you got printed off.
Yeah.
What you got printed.
We'll see. I'm going to start burning this thing now and see what we can do. But that is going to do it for today, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you guys next time. Everybody over on the NAA channel, we'll see you guys on Monday. For everybody here on the Geek Fusion channel, I got so many videos I need to catch up. I haven't posted a video in like 2 weeks. I got some videos I gotta fucking make. So
my cousin's home now, so I can start going down here shooting some reviews again. So
yeah, I'm just so behind on. I have like stacks of stuff up over here that I've got to fucking get videos done on that I just haven't fucking done yet. So
I'm wanting to. This is probably going to be the next review, like one of these Monster Force figures.
I
might just do both figures. I got Van Helsing and Dracula.
Well, I'm glad they're finally fucking like available. Like if you want to go buy one now, you can just buy one. You don't have to fucking pre-order anything, which is great. Which is exactly what we needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, plus you didn't have to, it wasn't like a regular Kickstarter too, where you had to pay it and wait 2 years to get it. It's pre-order, so they didn't charge until they shipped, so it never was that bad. So it's just having to wait is just they jumped the gun, I think, a little bit when they announced all this stuff and wasn't really ready for production.
Yeah.
But now they got the molds, they can start pumping stuff out. That should speed things up.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys later. Y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. And yeah, I don't know. That's it. Later, guys.